Peggy 18.
Welcome back, everybody in the room. Welcome to everybody back from the Twitch live feed. Glad to have you here again for this next Masterclass. Now, the trailer to this game is awesome. I swear to God, yesterday in the theater, you could literally feel the theater shaking as the trailer is going on. It was awesome. And I'm super excited to introduce this next dev team here. And I have to admit, I'm a little biased because they're from my home studio, Ubisoft Montreal. Here is your dev team from the awesome game, For Honor.
Hey guys.
Hey guys.
How you doing?
All right.
Hello, my mic's not on. Hello, microphone. Hey guys. How's everyone doing? Good E3 so far? Yeah. Everyone psyched about For Honor? Yeah. Did everyone catch it at the show yesterday? Yeah. Okay, good.
Nice.
Because we're going to be showing you some cool stuff that wasn't at the show yesterday. So my name's Eric Pope. I'm one of two community developers on For Honor, Ubisoft Montreal.
Hi guys, I'm Jeff Eleanor. I'm the level design director on For Honor.
And hello, my name is Gaelec Simard. I'm the associate game director in charge of the campaign. Whoa. Sorry. On For Honor.
Cool. So I think we're going to kick off by showing the trailer. If we can show that in the house.
And here it is.
Cool.
There were no signs. It came without warning. Doom came to us all. The desperate few struggled to survive. Perhaps we had a chance for peace. But desperation and trust are seldom allies. So began a millennium of conflict. A 1,000 years of war. The greatest warriors the world has ever known. The reason they fight, lost to the ages. And yet, here they still stand, searching for a sign of peace. I will show them. Apollyon. I bring war.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
I had not seen that end slate. That's great. So as you
Nice,
saw, we have a
nice.
release date, Valentine's Day. So make your plans now.
Yeah. We're all about the love.
So cool. So you had probably already seen that, maybe. If not, I hope that was a pretty good showing. But we wanted to really go through and dissect that trailer with you guys, sort of give you a little more information, a little more backstory as to what's going on there. So I think we should just dive right in. What do you think,
Yeah,
Caleb?
let's go ahead.
Yeah.
Cool. So if you want to run that first clip, guys. So we sort of have three different developed societies, right? And then this is kind of throwing people into chaos.
Yeah, exactly. Like about 1,000 years ago, the three factions were big civilizations that were pretty advanced, and then suddenly the cataclysm happened. We don't know how long it lasted, but we know that the whole world was wrecked. Lava started to flow. There was drought, tsunamis, everything, and they lost their resources. They lost their knowledge, and it brought all these great civilizations almost into like a dark age.
Right, and I think one of the key things there too, that in case it's not plainly obvious by the fantasy of our game, this is not based on the real history of our world.
No.
This is its own world, but inspired by our history.
Ask your teacher.
Exactly. Yeah, we wanted the players to feel, when we talk about samurai faction and knight, we want you to feel as if that's what it would be to be that type of character. But other than that, we wanted to create our own world where these three factions meet and have a bit of liberty to also make an awesome game.
And let's see them meeting here on the next clip.
Came to us all.
So we see the three different factions, their whole world just
Devastation.
destroyed. And as you mentioned, this all happened 1,000 years before the events of our game, pretty much, right?
Exactly. So I would say that this part is about maybe 100 years later, like after the cataclysm stopped happening. People started to try to go into the world again, started rebuilding their armors, their weapons, looking out for resources, fighting over resources.
Right.
So we can see that they're still pretty primitive, not a lot of steel, a bit more for the knights because they're a more technological kind of a faction. But yeah, it creates a nice contrast with what we see today for our heroes.
But this is them at like base survival. They're fighting each other right now over one little spring of water because you can see how arid the world has become. And it's for the survival of their people. It's not just these three characters.
Desperation.
That's right.
Trust
So I mean,
our seldom
this
ally.
little bit of water is sort of a metaphor for people struggling for resources.
Right.
Yeah, it's not. That's exactly what happened, and that has been told through generations. Like we started to fight for this little creek because they, throughout the ages, they've forgotten like why they started to fight. Like we imagine like that it was for resources, territory, and just I used to live here. No, I was. And that's what
Yeah.
sparked the whole like 1,000-year war.
Which is a good segue to the next clip, if you want to roll that.
So began a millennium of conflict.
So this is our time lapse here. This is showing what he was just saying. For 1,000 years, these civilizations have been fighting each other. But while they're fighting, the world is actually coming back to life.
Yes, and what's clear to me is that the Vikings really found like the stash of vitamins because they got really big throughout the 1,000 years.
There's a lot of protein available in Viking lands.
In
Build muscle
Valkenheim.
mass.
Valkenheim actually means proteins in Viking language. But seriously, yes, we can see that throughout the next centuries, they've evolved again into great civilizations, but more, even more into the war theme and war technologies, with each their own styles based on their philosophy and way of life.
all this time I thought this was just team deathmatch.
And in fact, these 3 characters we're seeing right here are actual 3 of the playable characters in the game.
Exactly. So the Warden is the one that you will see in the next mission that we're going to show you in the Knights. The Raider is the one that you saw on the stage demo, and the Kensei is another playable character that you'll be able to play in the campaign.
Yeah. Cool. And if we want to roll that last clip.
Here they still stand, searching for a
So they're coming close. You know, like we said, they've been fighting for 1,000 years, but the world is, you know, lush and vegetated again. Maybe they don't need to fight anymore. They're kind of reconsidering, and then someone's pulling the strings there.
Yes. So the world is better. It's still not like perfect, but we're at a time where peace might have been possible. But Apollyon makes sure that that doesn't happen because she thinks that might makes right, and that it's preferable to let the wolves roam free. So she's kind of orchestrating the chaos and the infighting between the factions. And
So as you mentioned, her name is Apollyon.
Her name is Apollyon.
What's her deal? Who are these guys that are with her?
Apollyon is the leader of the Blackstone Legion. Each faction is like a big family, and they each have their own sub-factions, so it's not always like everyone's aligned with the same ideas. So Apollyon, she leads the Blackstone region, and like I said, her goal is to create this chaos. One interesting fact about her armor is the story of where it came from. So when she was about 8 years old, she was a child living in a village, and a lawbringer came to the village. She was supposed to defend the village from invading Vikings, but he decided that it wasn't worth it, like that it wasn't a tactical advantage for him, so he just left. Her village was white. She was pretty angry about that, so a couple of years later, she tracked this dude, murdered him, took his armor, and like adapted it so that it would fit her as a reminder to her of what law means, law versus might, and also as a message to others of what would happen to them if they crossed her.
Yeah, it really summarizes the character that she became.
Yeah.
And also interesting, I think, on this screen is this dude with the giant axe standing out in front.
See, that is also a lawbringer, so we have kind of like, I would say classes, but not really classes, but our different heroes have
Archetypes.
specialties, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, it's really that the individual hero is based on the character's relationship with the weapon and how they interact with our combat system as a result of that. So the Lawbringer is the character in our game that has the giant axe that you see there.
And this specific Lawbringer is not the one who let
Right.
Apollyon's village die. He's actually her right arm man. Sorry about that. And his name is Holden.
Holden. So I think that lends a good segue to our next segment. Almost as if we planned it. We're now going to play the game with you guys, and we're going to kind of walk through what you're going to see, which some of you might have had a chance to get your hands on over here. This is the very first mission of the game. And our friend Pikalix, my favorite Pokemon and dev tester from our crew back in Montreal, will be playing it for you. He's very good at the game, but he'll be walking you through it slow. So let's dive in, Alex. We thought it'd be cool to show this, A, because it's the introduction to the story, but it also is an introduction to our combat system. For those who haven't seen it, it really walks you through the mechanics of playing the game, which I think is really helpful for first-time viewers.
So here in this first mission of the game, Lords and Cowards, basically you're going to be working for a guy named Daubeny, and this is Daubeny's castle shown here on this loading screen. Daubeny has offended Holden Cross and the Blackstone Legion, and as a result, he's about to be punished. His fortress is being attacked by Holden Cross, and you're unfortunately working for Daubeny when that happens.
So this is Daubeny.
Defend the walls!
The start of a very bad day for Daubeny.
Absolutely.
Come out!
Daubeny! It doesn't have to be like this!
Keep them off the walls!
So there's Daubeny falling back.
Break it down!
And Holden Cross is determined to get inside the fortress. His fortress, his forces are swarming all over it, and he's going to break down the main gate.
It was a day like any other.
So this is our character. This is Alex playing over there as the Warden.
The warden was just in my way.
You can kind of see nobody still at the top of his fortress there.
Directing traffic.
He's telling you to defend the east wall.
Yes.
Yep.
So right away, we're thrust into battle against currently 2 opponents.
Right.
And the game's going to show us how to play.
Your sword is your shield.
So because you're playing a warden, you're playing with the longsword, and this is the introduction to our combat system, the art of battle. So here we're going to show you how you're going to use the right stick.
Now he's defending against 1 opponent.
Play left and right. I love that guy gets hit in the face every time. But as you can see, the position of your longsword here is controlled by the right stick, and it really shows off how our fight system works. So because your weapon is in that position, you're available to block with the longsword.
So if you're looking at the opponent here, it's telegraphing where the opponent's guard is, and Alex is defending by using the same guard as his character.
Right. So right now he's in a top guard, so a top attack just bounces off his sword. And Alex is really good at the game, so he's blocking very consistently.
But the attack system is
where they're open.
using the exact same basis.
Right. So when you're blocking, you want to match your opponent's guard. And when you're attacking, you want to go around your opponent's guard.
Which honestly, it creates a really, it feels amazing to play the game if you haven't had a chance, because there is so much
My forces were
skill
coming over
and
that
thought
wall.
involved. So it's really kind of a dance.
Yeah, it's not just a timing game. You want to kind of fake your opponent out a little bit. You can attack from one side and then the other. And the timing of moving your sword across is really important, because if you start an attack
Alone. That warden
like
held
in
the
that
wall.
case, that sergeant coming up over the wall there was doing an attack. So even though he was in the right guard direction, because he's attacking, he can't block.
Now he's taking on 2 at once here. And he has destroyed them.
The courtyard!
As usual.
They're in the courtyard!
All right, so what's this?
All right, this is interesting. When you play the campaign, we have these little consumable powers that we give you called feats. And this one here is to heal you on demand. There's other ways to get help during the campaign, but obviously he just assigned it on the D-pad there, and he'll be able to use that when he gets hurt, if Alex gets hurt during this match.
He's very good at the game.
These little foot soldiers don't need to be locked onto. You can just kind of grind your way through them.
But they can definitely be a problem if you get ganged up. If they gang up on you.
Once you get surrounded by these guys, they can kind of block you in, and they'll start to whittle away.
And keep in mind that the characters you play in the game are like super elite badasses.
Right.
So it's not to say those soldiers aren't good at their jobs. You're just very good at your job.
You're better. But you have more health.
Their forces could barely hold their walls.
And here we have
They were
another
spread
one.
too thin.
Rush through this on our way to getting to the archers.
Just plow right through them.
And we're going to rejoin Dobany
That is how it is
defending
done.
his fortress there.
All right, check that out. With the catapult was just taken over on the wall.
Right. And right now we're trying to get to those archers. So that shoulder charge there that Alex just did is one of the moves of the Warden that allows you to kind of like disrupt your opponent and knock him back a little bit. I love this part.
Best idea ever.
Y'all cannot believe how long the
And that was the final straw for Holden Cross. He's like, all right, I'm done with this. We're just going to blow through the wall and take this castle.
Right, and the battering ram, you can hear it in the background. It's still hammering away at that main gate. But more and more of Holden Cross's forces are getting inside the castle.
And that death from above attack was made short work of that guy.
Yeah, that drop attack does a lot of damage.
So there are other moves too that he can use. There's that shoulder charge again.
You see that quick top light parry there?
So you have some options to break your opponent's defense. There's a guard break, and you also can parry with your sword.
Right.
Which Alex can show you.
We'll get to showing off the depth of that system in just a little bit.
There's a guard break right there.
Guard break right there. So when you're fighting someone who's really good at blocking, you can just tap to grab them, and it sort of interrupts their guard. And at that point, they have no guard direction, and you can just get in a light attack real quick. All right, the main gate has finally been destroyed.
Stop! Dominic! Dominic, show yourself! These warriors don't have to die. Trial by combat, right now.
What? Fight you? That's not a trial. That's an execution.
Then fight my second.
The second looks very confident.
Yeah. He's not worried about it.
You will be my second.
All right then.
So here's the first real rule of the game, and we can count on Alex to kind of show off some of the depth of our fighting system right here.
He can chain attacks. He can use those different guard breaks and parries. Dodging.
There's that shoulder charge. Super useful on the Warden. Oh, there's a parry.
Yep.
And there's a guard break.
Oh.
Yep. Almost got him in the fire. There we go.
And he pushed him in the fire.
Take that, hot dog.
As I watched that warden fight, I thought,
Just faint.
what
Did he
a
just faint?
waste.
Yeah. So you can actually see that he started a heavy attack there and then canceled it. So you can fake your opponents out by making them think that you're about to do a long, slow attack.
That's
and not
amazing.
doing it.
The warden was young, undisciplined.
So that parry.
Talent like that is rare.
And yet it's still always based on those foundations. Like, you always want to think about your opponent's attack direction and block when it's appropriate.
Uh-oh.
And right there, there's the execution. So now, if you're holding cross, that last bit didn't go as the way you planned it.
Right.
Adamar, the guy with the skull on his face back before his head rolled over.
It will not do for a
Supposed
knight
to be
of the
good.
Blackstone
He was an
Legion
important
to be
employee.
defeated by a common mercenary.
Night of the month.
in a game that's very much about honor, Dobiny sort of is out of honor
Neil.
at this point.
Yes.
You can tell in this playthrough that Alex took some
Valor in
really
battle.
hard blows to the head.
Honor and service. I, Holden Cross,
Shots to
raise
the
you.
head there.
Stand. Knight of the Blackstone Legion.
So here Holden Cross has knighted you. He's essentially made you a part of his army.
And given you Dobiny's sword.
And he's given you Dobiny's sword, which was shinier than your sword.
Yeah, let's hope it was not a family
We're
heirloom.
finished here.
Not your
Family
father's
heirloom.
sword.
Yeah.
So Holden Cross has
Come on.
shown up. He's utterly beaten up Dobiny's castle, and now
And that
he's
was
taking
how
his
I
best
met
fighter,
Warrior,
which is you.
who had set me
And
against all
you are
I
now
held
working
dear.
with him as part of the Blackstone Legion,
Yeah.
and that's the first mission of the game.
Which is pretty cool.
What's also interesting to mention is that all the things that are unique to the world, and like each character that you're going to play use the same basics of this art of battle, but they also each have their own unique moves that you can use.
Right. So once you know the basics of the fight system, you can pick up any fighter and kind of start to figure them out. But they all have their own unique chains, their own special attacks that you gradually get to learn as you play through our game.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, so that's not all that we brought with us today. There's something that's sort of holding this game together in a cool way that really makes it work, and that's the animation system. Our guys back at the studio have kind of engineered something innovative, really innovative, that they're called motion matching.
It's crazy good.
And unfortunately, we don't have our animators here with us, so we thought we would shoot a video with them, and they can explain the motion matching system to you right now. So let's roll that.
Check it out.
Hello Warriors, I'm Kai Nguyen, Animation Director on For Honor. I'm here with one of our animation programmer, Simone Clave.
Hello everyone, we're here to tell you more about the new approach to animation we use on For Honor.
The goal is to make you feel the true emotion of melee combat, that you are the ones on the battlefield.
Our game is definitely skill-based. Your ability to perform the right move at the right moment will make the difference between life and death.
The animation quality we're aiming for should never impact the accuracy of the gameplay. That's why we made this new system called motion matching.
Motion matching is a big data, brute force approach to animation. It starts with mocap, lots and lots of mocap. Everything you see in the game has been performed by martial arts experts with real constraints of weight and inertia. Let's start with navigation. So here I am running around in the game, and I want to turn left 90 degrees. In a typical system, an animator would have chopped a little piece of mocap and imported it in the game under a name such as run turn left 90. The system would find this animation and play it somehow. But we might have lots of different turn angles and speeds, and they could start from different poses. It quickly becomes a pain when we need to deal with high-quality combat navigation with different stances and styles. In fact, we found that by chopping the animations into small pieces, we kind of lost the nice flow of motion that we got on the mocap floor. So we do something else instead. We record our actors running around for several minutes. They start, they stop, they go at different speeds, different directions, different turn angles, different slopes, and so on. We just keep it all as a list of long animations. Then at runtime, we are in some pose, and we want to move in some direction. We just go through all the frames of our data, and we look for the one that matches the two following things. First, how much this frame looks like the current pose and velocity. And second, we check if the motion that follows this frame would bring us where we want. And we just jump to the winning frame. We blend there with some small blend time so it doesn't pop. But we have more than running around in our game, obviously. We mark up events like attacks, blocks, and hit reactions directly on top of the long animations. Then the game makes a plan of what events need to happen in the near future. Something like, I want this type of attack at this specific time from this stance with this strength. That request is also considered by the matching system. So here, in fact, we match three things: current pose, future trajectory, and desired events. Thanks to motion matching, there is no disconnection between your inputs and what you see on screen. It looks right and it feels right.
All right, that's all for today. Thank you for watching. Have a great E3.
Bye.
So I think that's amazing. I'm obviously not an animator, but just when they talk about, like, I don't know how many hours of mocap we have, but that system kind of parses through it frame by frame and matches it. It's crazy.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Like the fighters really have a unique feel to them, and the level of, I don't know, authenticity. And I don't mean authenticity like it's necessarily the way these fighters would have fought thousands of years ago. I mean it's authentic in the sense that the skeletal animation is really, really legit. Like, if our character bends his wrists and turns in a certain way, that means a human being can actually do that move and has done it.
And
Right.
it makes every character feel totally unique, even when they walk. And like, since our whole thing is about making you feel the weapon in your hand with the art of battle, like this animation system, like we couldn't have done it without it, I feel.
It's
Yeah.
really a huge part of the identity of the game.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I'm glad that even though they couldn't be here, we were able to show that and kind of give you guys a look behind the curtain at that system. Now, we actually unbelievably have time. We ran through, we didn't know if we would have time to do much Q&A, but we do have some time to do some Q&A. So I'm going to toss it to my man, Emil, my fellow community developer, who will be taking questions from the crowd, from our Twitch chat. Emil.
All right, 1 2 1 2. Thank you, Mr. Pope. It's good to see you guys. I hope you you enjoyed the presentation. Right? It was great. Yeah, amazing. It's good to see you, and it's good to be seen as well. So, of course, we have a lot of questions on Twitch, but we will start with a few questions from the audience. But first, we had people from our Star Players group submitting us questions. So, Mr. Haveris, right here, I know you have a question for these gentlemen.
Absolutely. So is the campaign, you're going to pick one of the factions and extend through to like one of 3 endings? Or is it something where you're going to jump around between the 3 or start with one, progress into the next, and then on to the next, leading to one grand ending?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Since we want to tell a specific story of Apollyon and the 3 factions and all they all interacted with each other, you're going to play each campaign in a specific order. Well, the campaign and each faction in a specific order. So you're going to start with the Knights as the Warden, then go into the Vikings campaign and play as the Raider, and lastly in the Samurai campaign, in the Samurai part of the campaign.
And we really wanted to do that because it sets up the world that you're going to experience when we play multiplayer. So our multiplayer game and our ongoing battle takes place after the campaign. So the story of the campaign is really how our multiplayer world got the way it is.
Yeah, it's a cool narrative lead-in that way. It also gets you some play time with a bunch of the characters, so you can really get hands-on and see how the different ones feel.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
All right, we also have another question here from one of our community reporters, Mr. Zach. How are you, Zach?
Yes.
Yes.
Question was, how are you?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were asking if my name was Zach. I'm good. This is fun. Yeah, I do have a question, though. So, obviously, you have a lot of mocap going on. It looks beautiful and stunning. Even the foot weighting is there with everything. But how much research went into, like, the text of finding out how all these weapons are used and actually bringing that to life? Can you kind of walk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, actually, neither of us is the weapons expert. It's one of those times when I wish that Jason was here, because Jason has this long list of essentially like gigantic wads of nerd data on that we obsessively track through, and we use that information when we go into mocap. So the way that the weapons were traditionally wielded is really important for us in directing our mocap actors. I don't know a lot about it personally, but I know that it's been a really important part of the character development, to the extent that when we design a fighter, we're really designing around an ancient weapon and how it was used. And all of the personality of the fighter starts from that weapon and how it got used historically to fight with.
And we've actually hired specialists in each of the weapons that we needed to mocap to make sure that it was as close as possible as how you would wield that weapon.
But also not even just the weapons. I imagine for the level design, there's probably a healthy amount of reference for the old castles and civilizations and such.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to geek out with you for a second here. As a kid, I got dragged around Europe by my dad because I'm British Canadian, and I spent a lot of time walking around castles. I've always been interested by them. So as a level design director, when someone invites you onto a project that actually has castles, that gets pretty exciting. And I'm working with an art director who loves to make just these sort of crazy, fantastical things. So together we used a lot of ancient reference and then scaled it in a way that's appropriate for our fantasy and our game. Because of course we have the golden age of our individual societies, we have the apocalypse, and then we have where they are now and how they're trying to rebuild. So the scale of all of our castles and the way the personality of those places really is influenced by historic, but it's also fantastic at the same time.
Cool. Emil.
Yeah, I think we had another question in this area here. Yeah, Mr. here. What is your name?
Arliss.
Nice to meet you. So, what is your question?
Describe the typical multiplayer match to us.
Describe a typical multiplayer match. Is that what you said? Yeah.
That's
Cool.
a very good question.
That is a good question because we're showing right now,
That's a good
we're
question.
focusing on the story campaign, but there is a huge chunk of the game that's multiplayer focused.
Yep. Typically at the end, I win.
Wow. Even against Alex?
How would you describe a typical multiplayer match?
Typically, you win when I'm in your team.
Well played.
No, but what I would say is, yes, it's not our focus at this E3. There's a lot of stuff that we have from the past E3 that you can look into. But what I would invite you to do is to register on our website for honorgame.com, because there are upcoming live periods. So then you'll be able not only you'll be able to experience it yourself. So.
Yeah. Actually, that's a beautiful segue. You should really do that. We're really counting on community input to improve our online experience and make sure it's really robust. You guys have played a lot of online games on release, I'm sure. You know that different things can happen. And part of what we're committed to doing is bring you guys the best experience possible. And for us to achieve that, we're going to test it a lot. So please go to forhonorgame.com online and sign up, because we need those beta players. Yeah. Because we want the typical online experience, we want the typical multiplayer match to be really, really fun.
Yeah.
How many people in the room participated in our very small alpha that we did last year? 3, 4 guys?
Nice.
What'd you think? What'd you think? Cool. Cool.
For those of you at home who can't hear them, they said it was awesome.
Yes. Emil.
Yes, sir. So we have, we're jumping on Twitch real quick because we have a lot of questions coming on the stream. The first one and it also gives me an opportunity to say some fancy gamer names. It's always fun to say that in a microphone. So Neon the Wanderer, that was pretty simple, says, can you choose your gender?
Of course you can. You can choose your gender and also your skin color.
Yep.
There's a nice thing that we have on the team, and there's a female word for warrior, and it's warrior.
Right?
Right.
It's not complicated for us. You can change your gender while you're customizing your character. You can change the skin color while you're customizing your character. It's really about who you want to play as. That's it.
Yep.
Awesome. Next question from Day-to-Day Gamer. Will all heroes fight with two-handed weapons?
I like the way you read that, Emil.
No. No.
That's pretty much it.
No, they will not.
Okay, clear and simple. Slow Cooker asks, are there dragons in For Honor?
Only on decals. Like just no, it's
Yeah,
not.
maybe
It's not
on some armor.
It's not a high decals.
Oh yeah.
It's not a high fantasy setting. We're not like fully realistic, but like we're in a realistic.
Let's call it
type of-
mid-fantasy.
Mid-fantasy, yeah, low fantasy. So no dragons or non-humans in the game.
That's good. Next question by MLG Mystic. Are there more than one boss per faction?
One boss?
One boss.
So like in the campaign they're probably talking about?
I'm guessing that question is inspired by what we showed at E3 this year when you fight Saburo at the end. And we have different levels of bossness for the enemies that we make you fight in the game. But there's quite a lot of unique, dangerous characters or bosses and mini-bosses that you're going to fight throughout the campaign. So absolutely, there's more than one special duel scenario that you're going to face throughout the campaign in each faction.
What he said.
All right, all right. Next question. This one is more difficult. Weezixt asks, will this game have... Yeah, I think that's kind of obvious. Will this game have multiplayer?
Yes.
I think it will.
We were watching last year.
We're excited to confirm today. There is multiplayer.
There's definitely multiplayer.
All right. Fixit NZ asks, is there a customization in For Honor, and at what level does it go?
There is, but again, it's not something that we're talking about at this E3. We want to keep some exciting stuff to talk about in future events and at future moments, but
it's amazing. Like what I've seen is really cool.
Like everything that we do, actually.
Pretty much everything.
Last question on Twitch here by Synchronous1. Can you injure your allies?
Your allies?
That's a great question, yeah.
Friendly fire?
Yes, you can. Typically what happens is we nerf the impact of friendly fire to not make it ultra annoying in multiplayer and when you're playing with a friend in co-op. But you can definitely do stuff that will adversely affect your friends if you screw up. Yes, it's possible. I'm not naming any names, but it has happened. Yeah.
All right. So maybe one last question from the audience, guys. Here, I'll go on this side because I stay pretty much on the other side the whole time of this masterclass. So, Mr. here, what is your name?
My name is Colin.
Nice to meet you, Colin. What is your question?
My question is, do you guys plan to cover any other cultures besides Knight, Viking, and Samurai? Something like a Celtic warrior or any other kinds of cultures, any other warriors from other cultures?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
In case you didn't hear, he's asking.
There's a reverb, yeah.
Yeah, he's asking if we plan to cover any other cultures with other factions or sub-factions.
Well, for us, why we chose these 3 factions is because we feel like they're the main big families that kind of encompass everything. So it's more like a wrapper. Whether there will be other factions, other things, it's not something that we're talking about again today. But yeah.
Cool. So I think, based on Emil running away, we're going to have to go. But before we go, we want to bring these guys up.
Nice.
If you look on the screen, pretty close to what you see on the screen.
These guys are crazy good at this. Seriously.
Yeah. So thanks everybody for coming, and thanks everybody for watching at home or at work, wherever you are. If anyone in Montreal is watching, what's up, guys? Wish you were here. It's warm. You don't want to be here. So thanks so much for watching, everybody. And some key information in case you missed it at the top. We have a release date now.
Yep.
Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2017. We are definitely looking for you guys to tell your friends to go to forhonorgame.com and sign up to get into some future live periods and alphas, betas, that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
so do that ASAP.
Please.
Cool.
Thank you so much, guys.